Hello everyone, I am Zia Ahmed. When we say word emotion, what comes to our mind? Maybe joy, sorrow, or many other innumerable emotions of different types, which we feel every day, which can affect us and people around us, like our fellow workers or colleagues. The most important point is understanding them and assessing their level of impact upon us. For answering these questions, I am honored to have today Nadine Zeinoun Khory from Lebanon in my session. She is an experienced certified leadership and executive coach who is expert in emotional intelligence and has given trainings in many cities around the world. At the moment, she is serving as president of International Coach Federation, Lebanon chapter. Thanks, Nadine, once again for joining me here. How are you?
I'm great, Zia. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
It's an honor to be here.
Thank you very much once again. So, Nadine, I just want to know from you very briefly how you joined this profession.
That's a very good question. You know, I was in the corporate world at the start. So I personally have a BS in chemistry and a master's in pharmacology. So I used to work in the pharmaceutical industry for a long period of time. And then I decided to leave the industry, and I started my own training consulting company because I always liked to train.
Yes.
And as I always like to help people develop themselves, develop their skills. And as I started working on this, I saw that I needed to add something to the training to really help people make a shift and develop and really change their behavior. And that's when I went into coaching.
Yes.
Now, why emotional intelligence? It was a big hit at that time. And I saw that people are really, looking for it. And when I went to see what is it about, I really fell in love with it. So I really love the topic of emotional intelligence because I believe this is really important for everyone to be successful anywhere they want in life. Emotional intelligence skills are essential to have. And that's how I started my path there.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, Nadine, we always say that don't make emotional decisions, especially in professional life. And we prefer to make intelligent decisions or rational decisions. So, and on this background, how you can define emotional intelligence?
Okay, first of all, it's interesting you said that we prefer to do rational,
yes,
which is intelligent decisions, as if you put rational and intelligent together. So I'll get back to that point.
Yes.
But how I would, simply, explain emotional intelligence is what you said at the start. Emotional intelligence is about really understanding your own emotions. Okay. And how they impact your own behaviors, your own decisions, yes, and what you do in life and how you come off in life. And also understanding other people's decisions so that you can make, or behave in a way that is correct from a social point of view. Socially acceptable, if you want.
Okay. In a correct way. Bottom line is you say that make you behave in a correct way.
In a socially acceptable way, I would say, because there's nothing correct, nothing wrong, but in a way that serves your own well-being and other people's well-being around you. Okay.
Okay.
And that's why it's interesting to me that you said, we prefer to do intelligent or rational decisions. Like I felt as if sometimes we think that the rational decision is the intelligent decision. Yes. But actually the best decision is made is when you take a triad, if you want, into consideration. When you take into consideration your rational thinking, so your logic, yes, your emotions and other people's emotions. So when you take all these three together, that's when you come up with a better decision. So it's not just the rational part that's intelligent, it's bringing all of them together and really weighing each and then coming up with the best decision possible.
Okay. Thanks. You explained it in a very nice and brief way. Thank you for that. So moving forward, I just want to know that what are the components of emotional intelligence?
Now, the components, I mean, it depends on which model you go by.
Yes.
But one of the first models of emotional intelligence that came up was Daniel Goleman's model, which he explained in his book. So, and it really splits emotional intelligence into 5 different components, mainly self-awareness, internal motivation, self-regulation, empathy, and having social skills. But I would say like the most important one of these, or like the first one to really work on, is emotional self-awareness. So creating good self-awareness about you, especially your emotions.
Yes. Okay. So now if I want to know what are the types of emotional intelligence, how I can explain or
what do you mean by types? Do you mean the components or?
no, like self-awareness or self-management,
Okay, all right.
social awareness or relationship management.
Yeah. So one thing I want to say that these different components of emotional intelligence, they all tie in together, of course. So when I say someone is good on, he has a high emotional intelligence, I mean, that's kind of vague. We really need to, because each one of us is strong in some area and maybe lags behind in another area.
Yes.
But when we say, like, for example, self-awareness, that's the key, because I need to be aware. I cannot change my behavior if I'm not aware of how my emotions are impacting my behavior.
Yes.
So that's like the key. The key is to really understand what am I feeling this moment? How is this feeling impacting how I am behaving? How is this behavior impacting others, where empathy comes along? So that's where my empathy comes along.
Yes.
So how is my behavior impacting others, and how is it impacting my success and my objectives, what I want, my goals in life? So that's around emotional self-awareness. And this is key to develop if you want to move your emotional intelligence and grow your emotional intelligence, because research shows that if you work on developing your emotional intelligence, you have a higher rate of being successful in life and in your work.
Yes.
And that's why emotional intelligence is a very important thing that people discuss. It's a very important concept that people work on.
Okay.
Now, self-regulation is about you being able to regulate the emotions, so not being too spontaneous, too abrupt in the way you make decisions or the way you behave, so that you are not led by your emotions. So that's where you need to regulate those emotions, not put them aside, understand them and regulate them.
Okay.
Internal motivation, because motivation has a lot to do with emotions. So internal motivation is what motivates you. You understanding, again, it's part of understanding yourself, but it's understanding your own motivations, what motivates you to do things, what doesn't motivate you, what are your values, what drives you to perform, etc. All of this is, again, very important for us to understand, because emotions impact that. And of course, empathy is how I understand other people's emotions. Am I able to put myself in the shoes of others or not? And the social skills have to do with how you connect with people, because we know that people connection is very important for our happiness and our well-being and for our effectiveness in the work environment. So developing good social skills depends a lot on emotional intelligence skills.
Yeah, because generally we have seen in our professional life that if you don't have good interpersonal skills, then sometimes people don't grow in their career.
Exactly. Because even if and this is really where most of the leaders have difficulties, because on a technical level they're really good, and that's why maybe they were promoted to wherever they are in the organization. So they have really good technical skills. But when it comes to human skills, when it comes to connecting with people, when it comes to motivating others, when it comes to driving a good culture of harmonious team, this becomes more difficult, because humans are more difficult to understand. And that's where you really need the emotional intelligence skills to help you in creating that team that is high performing.
Okay. See, I just want to know that can we help to increase or decrease others' emotional intelligence? Because generally,
Sure.
we say that we cannot increase other person's intelligence.
That's a very good point. You can, everyone, they have to take ownership of their own self-development. So let's be clear. I cannot develop you if you don't want to be developed.
Yes.
However,
Yes.
as a leader,
Hmm.
first I need to work on my own emotional intelligence. So before I start looking around and looking at other people, I have to look at how am I
Yes.
doing in terms of emotional intelligence,
Yes.
and really look myself in the mirror. So the first thing is you work on your own emotional intelligence.
Okay.
I suggest by starting with emotional self-awareness, because you really need to understand what's going on, how are they impacting me, and this is like a whole world. It's not something that we just press a button and it happens.
Yeah.
It's a long-term process.
Yeah, it's a long-term process.
But it's very important for us to really understand how our emotions are impacting our decisions or our behavior. And I can give you a very simple example.
Yeah. Why not?
So for example, many leaders, they come to the office in a mood that's like they're in anger mode or something. So their voice is loud, the way they come off, their body language is kind of aggressive.
Yes.
And they come in and, some people ask them, for example, what's wrong? Are you okay? And they say, oh, I'm okay. Nothing's wrong with me. How are you? They are not aware at all that they are in a high emotional state, whatever it is, whether it's anger, whether it's frustration, whether it's overwhelm, whether it's stress. I don't know which one it is. But there is an emotion that they are experiencing, and this emotion is impacting the way they talk, their voice, their body language. And this body language and this voice is coming off as aggressive. And this creates fear for people around them. And
we always say that he has some problem at home and he has come now.
Exactly. So that's your empathy. You see, you're using your empathy to try to understand why is it this person is behaving this way, so that you don't feel, angry back at him. But not everyone is skilled at empathy. Not everyone easily goes to empathy or into empathy mode.
So sometimes I want to add here one thing. I want to add here one thing, that if we know some of our colleague is, for example, diabetic, and sometimes if the blood sugar level goes too much up or it's disturbed one way or the other, then we know that the person's behavior cannot be like a normal person. He might be behaving in a very difficult way.
Maybe they are behaving in a different way.
Yeah.
And you see how you took his story into consideration, or his case into consideration. So you were empathizing. So you were using your empathy, which is part of emotional intelligence, to better understand that person so that you can connect better with that person. So, and this is how a leader needs to have good empathy, good emotion. So first he needs to be aware. How are my behaviors impacting people around me? How am I inspiring them, or am I scaring them? Or am I, what emotional state am I putting them in when I behave in certain ways?
So nice of you. Thank you. Okay, I want to know that what impact, what you observe that this profession of emotional intelligence has so far made in improving the situation, or improving the environment, or improving the work organization or environment of companies.
Do you mean in my own personal experience?
Yeah. Let us start with your own experience.
First of all, it changed me. Let's start from here.
Good. That's the best point, I think, that it changed you, first of all.
It changed me as a person.
This reminds me of my first business psychology class almost 30 years back, that my teacher said that once you will finish this course, first of all, you will improve.
Exactly. Because, if you need to support people to change, you need to change first. You have to live what you preach, right?
Yes.
So it changed me. That's the first thing, because, when I was a leader in my old role as a sales manager in the pharmaceutical industry, where I had a team that I was managing, I wasn't very emotionally intelligent, I must say.
Hmm.
So I didn't really understand how my behaviors impact the team and
Hmm.
how, I'm coming off to them and how is this impacting their behavior and their own
Yeah.
performance.
Yes.
And I learned it the hard way.
Yes.
So
Yes.
and that's why I tell you that when I was open to this emotional intelligence world, I really fell in love with it, and I really understood
Yeah.
why I was having all these issues when I was, a leader.
Okay.
Yeah, and luckily I had a very good manager who created my self-awareness, who was harsh with me, who
Okay.
gave me the tough truth.
Hmm.
Okay, and then my eyes started opening,
Hmm.
and I started understanding things better. But
Okay.
now when I became someone who is really focused on emotional intelligence,
Hmm.
I see how where I lagged behind, and that's why I
Hmm.
really can support the leaders
Okay.
that I
Good.
work
Good.
with, because
Yeah.
I've been
Okay.
there.
Okay.
I know how it feels. I know how they think. I know
Okay.
because I used to think that way, and it took me, a long time and a lot of effort
Yeah.
to actually make the change.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But I can tell you that I have seen many resistant
Hmm.
leaders who, their company wanted them to do coaching, and they were not very convinced that they needed coaching.
Yeah, that's the point that people don't are not convinced that we need
Yeah,
it or
but
not.
as we work together and as we coach together,
Hmm.
there was a huge shift in their emotional intelligence and a huge shift in the way they lead their team. And of course, this leads to a huge shift in
Okay.
the
Okay.
performance
So,
of the
so
team.
nice. So you got how much training? Did you get some training official, some
Sure,
from some institute?
of course, yeah, of course. I'm certified. There's an assessment called EQI 2.0, which is by a Canadian company called MHS.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I'm certified on using their
Oh, good.
tool.
Oh,
So
good,
that's
good,
how I assess, I allow
good,
my
good, good.
clients to take the
Okay.
assessment, and that's how we look at the baseline, where they are, and then we set an action plan, and we
Okay.
do one-on-one coaching so that
Okay.
they can
Good.
move
You can
their
do
skills
one-on-one
and
coaching
develop.
and group coaching also, both.
Yes,
Okay.
of
Okay.
course. I do both
Okay.
with organizations, depending on the need. Some organizations, they
Hmm.
want to work with the executives, or sometimes the executive himself comes, or the leader. They
Okay.
come to me, they want to develop themselves, then we do one-on-one coaching. But
Okay.
sometimes
Hmm.
they want to create a good team, a
Hmm.
coherent team, a harmonious team. So I work with the team all together,
Hmm.
and in addition, one-on-one with them personally. So it
Oh, good.
depends.
What's the name of your organization?
It's called Accomplish.
Accomplish. Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes,
So
yeah.
thank you very much. And if some of my subscribers contact you for coaching, please give them some discount then.
Of course, and actually, if you want, if they, if they tell me that they came through you,
Mhm.
I will give them a free session, a free coaching session.
Oh, good,
Uh,
good. That's so nice.
of course,
You will give
to
them a free
support
coaching
them.
session. Yes.
Sure, sure,
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah.
If they're to support them with any, emotional intelligence issue that they are facing or challenge that they are facing.
Okay, 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 okay. Thank you very much, Nadine. It was so nice of you. You gave us a lot of time, and I will if I receive a lot of questions about for you, maybe we can go and have another session based on those questions only.
Sure,
It's okay with
sure.
you?
I would love that. Of course, of course.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Sia, for your
Thank
time,
you
and
very
thank
much.
you for inviting me.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Have a wonderful day.
You too.
It's still morning in
Yes.
Washington.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay, take
Bye
care.
bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye.